Yeah, you can't see it yet, Josh, but there are thousands of people, and this is televised live.
Don't listen to him, Josh.
Yeah, we have to satellite. There are millions of people watching.
No pressure.
Appreciate everybody attending tonight, giving their time. We're definitely glad to have Josh Madryga here to present. Josh has been trading, I believe, since 2016. Is that right?
Yeah.
Nice. And so, yeah, I kind of take it away, and I'll kind of pick your brain a little bit as we go.
Yeah, that sounds good. Really good. So just gonna, I guess, just initiate a little bit of conversation into the psychological side of trading. David asked me if I would share some of the things that I was doing, because I just kind of randomly, I was like talking about working on some things and the things that I'd been working on, and I just shared some things with him, and he was like, "Oh, you've got to share that with the group." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Now what do I done? So anyway, I want to share I'll share a little bit about myself, briefly my trading story, and then a little bit of some of the hurdles I've had to go through and overcome, and a little bit of the tactics and techniques to try and fight those things that are in the way for a lot of us. So yeah, I'll start here. Reprogramming the trading brain, overcoming psychological hurdles. Yeah, Josh Madryga. I'm from Wasaga Beach, Ontario, Canada. That's where I mostly grew up, or at least in that area, and currently living in Melbourne, Florida. I've been trading since 2016. I really like trading because it keeps my mind sharp, and there's no better way to make money.
And what, I guess, what piqued your interest in trading back then? Was there anything specific, or why trading?
Yeah, it's a good question. So as you guys have kind of heard, I've been working in film and TV as a stuntman for coming up on 13 years. And about 6 years halfway into that career, I said, you know what? I'm not invincible, and there's going to be a good chance I'm going to have to deal with the ramifications of my choices in these earlier years of my career. And so I said, I've got to come up with something to back up the stunt career and have something else to bring in some income. So I did a lot of research and searching in that time of my life, in that first half of my stunt career, and then I came into finding trading. Just piqued my interest a lot, and it was nice. And what I really liked about it is that the skill set was a complete different challenge from everything that I had done in life. I've always done physical jobs. Like I've had careers in fabrication and stuff and building. And so I've always been a hands-on guy. And so when I found trading, it seemed to be more academic and in a field that I had no real time spent in. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to diversify my skill set and try something that's out of my normal way of doing things. And man, did I not realize what I was stepping into when I chose to do that. Wow, what a challenge.
Nice.
So that's what... Yeah.
I was just going to ask, and so that kind of the end goal, or I guess the goal for trading is, help to supplement income, but ultimately kind of sounds like maybe even replace down the road, right? Have that second plan, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely having the second plan, and I would like this to be the main source of income as well, especially as the world is changing so fast. My career's changed a lot, even in the past couple of years with all the things going on, and it's not the same job that it used to be. And trading is far more attractive now than it used to be too. So yeah, I really like this job when it's when I'm not yelling at it and calling it a nightmare. It's a great job.
Now, is that the name you used? Nightmare?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah, this is my little bit of my family, and my favorite thing to do on my own time is surfing.
Yeah. Nice. Good looking family there for sure. And so, the overcoming the psychology hurdles or reprogramming the trading brain. I asked, just really quick, why did you pick this topic, and what would you like or maybe hope that our traders are able to take away from your presentation tonight?
I think it's kind of like a taboo subject, or something that's just not. It's definitely not fully understood, and I'm certainly not a psychologist here, but I'm just going to share my experience in hopes that my experience can serve as some kind of help to anyone else that's coming into this a little bit newer, or even if you've been in a bunch of years. This side of the game is a really difficult one. So if I can help in any way, I'm hoping that I can with my story. That really is all I'm trying to do, I guess.
Nice. Yeah, that experience, right, definitely speaks volumes. And again, really appreciate you, going out of the comfort zone and presenting tonight. So, yeah, again, excited, and yeah, let's get to it.
Yeah. So, as I wanted to express what I've been doing in terms of training for this job, I thought I better dive into why I had to get to the type of training that I'm doing. And that's the kind of reprogramming the mind. And so this is kind of like a little start to it. We need to find those barriers and those hurdles, which can be tricky finding them in the first place. Then when you can find them, it's important to define them so that you can then have a good way to counter and have a solution to them. And so it just kind of this little 3-step process I want to kind of go through that brought me to the type of work that I've been doing recently. So how can we find the hurdles that we're dealing with? If you guys have anything to add into this, that would be great too. I just have a couple of things, but any help is definitely appreciated. Seat time, just lots of time in front of the computer trading. Can start to reveal themselves and make it evident. And then one of the big ones that has helped me a lot recently is journaling. I never understood the importance of it until my more recent months and past year or two. Journaling really helps to sort things out in the mind and starts to uncover the things that are causing problems. Does anybody else have anything else that they could add when it comes to finding our hurdles and our barriers?
I really liked how you mentioned the journaling, right? For me, it's definitely made a huge difference, whether it's journaling my trades and for each day, obviously thoughts and emotions, right, that had come through, from that day. Are you talking specifically about journaling those trades, or I guess maybe expand on it? What do you kind of do with, as far as journaling?
No, right now the question is, what can we do to find our obstacles? Because sometimes we don't know what our obstacles are. And so how do we find them in the first place? So journaling is as a tool to find the hurdles that we're actually going through.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments out there that are good. And Josh Hunter raised his hand. What do you have to add to that? Hunter, the hunted.
I was going to ask. I mean, I'm familiar with journaling. Like, you write down your trade, you write down win or loss, buy, sell, that kind of stuff. It's a little bit more technical. What are you putting down in your journal that helps you find these?
So just the journaling itself has revealed some bad habits. So I guess it seems that maybe really only journaling is the only way to find the hurdles. I was just kind of asking the question: is there other ways to find our problems and our barriers? Journaling and seat time is all I've really come up with, and so yeah, I don't know if there really is anything else to add. If not, I'm just going to keep going here.
Well, Lee mentioned, had a great comment too, plotting the trades, right? Every day, taking notes with the most relevant trades, right? And I think that, that obviously will start to show that routine or that those barriers because you're going to see them over and over again, right?
Yeah, for sure. So some questions that I have been asking over the last little while that I've found help to uncover some of the things that I've needed to uncover. What do we say when we talk to ourselves in our minds? That's also the title of a book. I don't remember the author, but it's a good question. Are we saying things that are conducive to our success? Are we saying things that are deliberately attacking or threatening our success? And then what core beliefs do we hold of ourselves? And then this was something that these two questions started to help me uncover some things too. Am I a subconscious encourager or am I a subconscious discourager? Like what things do I say about myself that encourage and build myself up, or what things am I saying that tear me down? And so maybe we have both of those things in us. I'm sure we all do have some of both. I'm going to show you guys with some things here that I've very much been a subconscious discourager, and I've been over the past year. I've just had a terrible subconscious that is just a nuisance, and it's like my enemy. So I'll just use myself as an example and talk about some of the things that have been in my mind. And so over the past year, my performance in my trading has been really, really bad. And it's interesting because I'm like 6.5 years in, and over the past few months, past year, my performance had just been so bad. And I was like, is my time and price cycle, am I getting worse at time and price? Is my studying like just making me get worse? I'm like, it can't be that those things are making my performance worse. Like my understanding over time should get better, right? So I'm like, what on earth is happening? And so after doing a lot of digging, I found that really it was my subconscious was acting up far more than I had really understood. And so these are some of the things that over the past year I'm naturally a subconscious discourager. I naturally remind myself of poor performance, naturally call myself names and put myself down. I have a core belief, and this one is a really big one too. This is what I've been trying to turn around. So understand that this is not what I'm trying to reinforce right now, but this is what has been a huge hurdle. I have a core belief that I don't have enough trading knowledge. This career has started to break me mentally, and all the positive thinking, visualization, all those good tactics that I once had seemingly stopped to work. And then my mind started to turn against me. And then sending me into a spiraling downward trajectory. And then what I'm going to show is actually the statistics over the past year are going to, I think I'll kind of use this as a demonstration that the subconscious mind, when it's backfiring and working against you, is really bad. So my beliefs have proven statistically that they influence my performance. So for the first, this is the last 10,000 trades in my pre-fund account. And if we could have gone, I tried to get more data. I was talking to Salo, trying to get some more data from previous years. They weren't this bad. Actually, a year ago was some of my best trading performance. So this is about like 8 months of data in these past 10,000 trades. And you can see it's like a treacherous drop down. My performance had dropped really, really bad. And then right at the end of this statistical curve, you see there's a little turning point down there. That was just a few weeks ago when I really started to use the tools I'm going to show you next, that I just started to do because I could see that it was my mind that was really just causing me most of my problems.
Sure. And you know, kind of a thought that's kind of, you mentioned something kind of, well, I just had this thought is like, you know, you've got this little, you know, jump up, right? You know, a positive jump up in your equity curve. I guess, you know, how do you feel like trading, you know, because obviously you've been trading with us in the hot seat, or with David in the hot seat. How do you feel that has, you know, impacted your trading? Or trading in the morning or watching?
Oh, I think that it's been like technically really good. What I'm trying to demonstrate here is the emotional impact of the subconscious being a real problem. Like all the training from the hot seat and Dave's training is excellent. Like technically I've been getting better, like significantly better. But it's interesting that I know that I've been getting technically better, but over the past year, my performance had decreased. And so that's kind of like what I was trying to dig into with understanding the psychology behind it, why performance is bad, and just like how much impact the subconscious mind has when it's not working right. So a few weeks ago, I started to work on my subconscious a lot more heavily. And that's where this turn started to come back in. I mean, all the technical knowledge has been great with trading with Dave and the whole group in the mornings. It's been really good, like a really good impact.
Yeah, I definitely, for me, without a question, right? And so, you know, just I think that, you know, being able to join the Discord, and if you haven't gotten in on those morning sessions, you know, definitely something to do, because it definitely helps with, for me, just those rules, right, that can kind of help dictate my trading, which can help reduce some of that that bad negative psychological, right, talk. So
yeah. And then kind of that third step was to counter the barriers and the hurdles. How do we counter those negative aspects that we have to go through? And then for me, what has been working is these trading phrases of affirmation. And so I put together a little journal. Sorry, it's not a journal. I was calling it my, it's kind of like going into the tuning shop. Like if you've got a performance car or a race car or something, you might have to go and get the computer sorted out and do some technical tuning. And so what I've been doing in the mornings is I take myself into the shop, and then I go into writing all these phrases out. And I spend hours doing this. Over the past few weeks, I've spent 3 or 4 hours most days. And so these are some things that I've been using in here. I wait patiently to fade the ends of price cycles. I recycle trades when I'm early in the price cycle. I'm confident in price cycles. I always stick to my game plan. And I've been writing these things out over and over and over. And the reason is to bombard my mind with the way I want my mind to work, rather than letting my subconscious go kind of running rampant and just talking bad all the time. Rather than even thinking about any of that, I just bombard it with all the things that I want, and get it to perform better. Yeah.
And I really like how you said that conductive, you know, what are we saying, right, to ourselves, to, you know, that conductiveness to help us succeed. And, you know, I really like these examples, right, because it kind of just, again, reaffirmates the rules, right, that we should be sticking to. And, you know, thoughts equal words and words equal actions, right? And so, Joseph, great comment. You know, it's like doing a warm up for athletics, right? And
yeah, it's so comparable to that, isn't it? Yeah. I think so. Mm-hmm. So, and that's the way I've been treating it. So in the morning, I spend time training for my trading career, and I've been And I think Kevin Pine touches on this so well. And for anyone that's going into the psychology boot camp, it's going to be just a gold mine, because he has broken it down so well. I've used a lot of his tactics to formulate my own things. I wanted to share. Oh, how do I do that? One sec. Let's see if I can. Did I stop sharing?
You did.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, what I'm getting at is all of this stuff right here, and taking it seriously and practicing it every day has started to really reshape my mind. And that's what I wanted to show also with those statistics. Just a few weeks ago, with all the practice that I've been putting in, I now have a turn in the last few weeks. You can see that my statistics are heading up.
You got that bowl pattern, my friend.
Yeah. That's actually a pattern that I used to have before the last year. And then I guess I also want to mention too, approximately a year ago, there was just like a whole bunch of things in life that were getting harder. And there's just so many distractions, a lot of changes going on. My family we'd sold our house and moved now in Florida and stuff. But what I didn't notice that my mind was slipping. And so I guess I just want to use these statistics here to show like just how bad the mind can really operate. And then how much you can just turn it around too, just with just a little bit of tuning. And so I guess really that was all I wanted to share tonight. Well, that's all I have to share.
I think Norma is just asked a question that I wanted to ask too, is like, when you go and do a dangerous stunt, what do you do to prepare for that, to give you the confidence that you could like mentally?
Yeah, that's interesting. Great question. Yeah. So it's having plan A, plan B, and plan C completely visualized and completely ready to execute B and C at any given second. And being confident in plan B and plan C is what gives me the confidence to execute plan A in the first place, whether it be dangerous or not dangerous. Because being a stuntman, you have to be extremely adaptive. And which is so funny, because I thought I'd be able to transfer the skills from my stunt career as a risk mitigator into this. And man, it's like nothing transferable, nothing to just cross jobs. Like I manage risk in one area of my life, and then I manage risk here, and they're so different though.
I just think it's funny that you use that, having A, B, and C, because we talk about that all the same every day, right? Have a plan A, plan B. It's just like you as a stuntman, you carefully plan. I'm pretty sure you carefully plan and execute if it's a high risk stunt, right? It's a high risk stunt, and the same thing as a successful trader. We take calculated risks. I took one tonight. I took a calculated risk in my trading, and making strategic moves, and as a successful trader, we do that, right? And as a successful stuntman, you do the same thing. And I think both skill sets require an immense amount of preparation, skill, and discipline, as well as the ability to, what you're talking about tonight, is to remain calm and focused under pressure. I think that is the key with what you're talking about, is remaining calm and focused under pressure when things aren't going your way. And it's amazing to me and I said it this morning, to be like, when everything's going good, everybody's joking, laughing, and then the moment that trades go bad, the room gets quiet. And it's probably the same with the stuntman. So I think, personally, I think that for you, Josh, you can lean on that. And I would look for more of a correlation there, because you're a professional. You you do analyze and you do that. And so look for a correlation between the two, because I think you can bring in the same headspace into trading and turn it and be successful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. They should be completely transferable. Like without it's the exact same without plan B and plan C ready. You really shouldn't be taking a trade otherwise. And it's just so weird that I've struggled to do that. But Lee made a good point. Having the control, I definitely in life have to control so much, so many things. And it's just, I guess that's where my careers differ, is just having just a little bit different type of control when it comes to markets. But yeah, I mean, without plan B and plan C, you couldn't do plan A properly. I mean, I wouldn't even be alive.
Yes. And Martin brought up a pretty good comment that I think is relevant to this, and he asked if there was, a way for you, or can you identify, a trigger event in which, your trading performance deteriorated, right? And I think if we can do that and really start to, like you said, recognize those hurdles, right, or those triggers, then we can start to go into plan B, right, or plan C altogether. But is there a specific, or I guess, is there a way that you kind of have figured that you trigger, or that you identify those triggers of the bad trades?
It wasn't until it was painful enough for me to notice. It took me months to realize it was my subconscious that was really triggering such bad performance. I think so technically and analytically, I just disassociated, disregarded my subconscious. That can't be an issue. Don't pay any attention. Just make sure that 1 + 1 still equals 2, and keep doing things that way. But these statistics really are a good way to show that the mind can be so sneaky. If I could have caught this earlier, I would have, right? It's been a painful year to go backwards in your trading. But yeah, it was really understanding what my subconscious was doing, and really, really actually paying attention, really listening, because it was a major factor in the bad performance. And just a few weeks ago, since I started changing it up and being aware of what my subconscious was doing, instantly I've had much better performance again. So
nice. No, it's good that, it's sometimes it's difficult, right, to take a look at that, ourselves, right, in the mirror, and really try to break it down and then build it back up. And, definitely applause for you being able to do that and wanting to do that. I think it shows how serious you really are about achieving these goals, right, with your trading. So.
Yeah. And I just want to say, guys, just pay it. If something's going weird with your trading, the subconscious can be so sneaky. So take a look at it and take it seriously, and have a look and see if it's your culprit, because I didn't realize that it was my culprit.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I had to recognize, and I liked what you said earlier on, is that you didn't recognize how much of an impact journaling was. You've heard it,
Yeah.
You've heard people tell you to do a journal. And it is but you don't do it, right? You don't do it because you're like, well, I don't think it's going to help me. But the moment that you do it, you start to see, oh, you know what? I'm actually a good trader, or I'm consistent, or I'm consistently bad. But if I'm consistently bad at this, then I know exactly where it's at, right? And so you start tracking it. I'm a firm believer, if you don't track it, you don't control it. You know what I mean? And a journal is just simply a way to track it. And so I love how you brought that up. I learned the hard way, personally, I went through the same thing you did. With my psychology of the brain. And when I started trading, I thought, I didn't take it seriously. I didn't take how much of a mental challenge that trading would be on the subconscious, and how much emotion that you would actually put into it, and how much it can drain you and how much it can give you life. Right. And it can do that in a matter of 5 minutes. I didn't ever realize that. Right. And
I think,
and so because I'm just saying that because I didn't put that much stock into it, I didn't fix it, but I had the same problems. Like I've had an equity curve like this before, all that kind of stuff. And I can tell you the moment that kind of changed it for me, and I think it was probably because Sean knew this about me, but he asked me to give a presentation at a summit for my very first presentation at a summit that I ever gave was on kind of what you're talking about, the psychology and how of trading. Because he knew I couldn't like teach at that time. I wasn't like a good teacher, but he gave me that thing, and I dove into that because I wanted to, I was going to be up on stage in front of like 300-400 people for the first time. And so I wanted to make sure it was good. Yeah. And I learned so much, and it was like a pivotal moment that exactly what you're saying is that we feed a negative loop as traders into our own brain. I see it all the time. It's a negative loop. When we start saying, oh man, I could have, or I should have, or man, why didn't I? And the moment that I started eliminating that and saying it's gone, and that's what professional athletes do. I'm pretty sure that's what you do as a professional stuntman. If you make a mistake, it's gone. You move on from it. You don't even think about it again. Right. And we don't, as traders, we dwell on that. We dwell on that so much, and it impacts our next move and our next move. I mean, even in the trading today, Tom said it very, very, very well. He said, I asked him, why are you not putting more trades on here? And he said, because in the past I got burned. We always hold on to the past of the negative things, but also I'm pretty sure in the past you made money too. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about how we got burned. Right. The moment that we can focus on that in our heads and flip the switch, the moment you're trading, like what you're doing is your equity curve, you saw that you're there, you're ahead of the game. And so I'm really excited with the trajectory. That's why I asked you to kind of put this together. I got just a quick question here in that is that in putting this together, did you learn anything from doing it yourself? Like, did you do a deeper dive? And do you personally have any takeaways from this?
Yeah. I want to try and answer that like specifically because it's a really good question. Yeah. Having to dig through this and present something, putting it into words, adds an element of seriousness to it, an element of responsibility and accountability to it. Like I'm going to be forever different after just having to present this.
Sure.
But having you ask me to present something meant I had to go and dig and come up with good reasoning for what I had started to do with my mind programming. Going into the tuning shop. Why am I going into the tuning shop in the mornings before I trade? Well, now I have to explain why. And then having to dig all that up and explain it to everybody is absolutely, it's super important. And that accountability and that seriousness is a huge deal. So yeah, thank you for putting me on the spot and having to do it. And I just so hope that if you're having a really hard time, that you can really take this seriously with your subconscious, because it could be a bigger culprit than you realize.
Agreed.
I think we have a new name for the morning trading is we're just starting to start calling it the tuning shop.
Yeah. or get to the tuning shop before you show up to the trading room.
Nice. And yeah, no, again, I was the same way, and still, hosting these classes definitely gets me out of my comfort zone, and I learned so much, from everybody. And Yeah, it's just really grateful for the opportunity, and I think again, just another reason why, if you haven't gotten into Discord, or definitely do and get into that morning trading session. Again, just a huge benefit of that access that we have with our community here. I did want to open it up a little bit for questions, as we've been going through, and there's one that referee Pete had asked, and I've kind of struggled this as well with this. Like, I know it's, journaling, putting my trades on loss, wins, but he asked define journaling, right? Is there any, and this may be for you, Josh, as well as for David, what things do you guys add, or is there like a criteria or category that you do with your with your journaling?
I struggled with that question a lot. And here's what I'm going to say personally: disregard that. Just start writing stuff down with discipline every day. Don't worry about what it is. Just start writing stuff down every day, and you'll soon find out what you need to be writing down. So that's what's difficult. You got to start doing it to really see how important it is. So just start doing something.
No, that's a great point.
That is a great point.
Let's see. Any other additional questions that maybe didn't get to? Let's see. Yeah, quite a few coming in. Joseph asked, as far as like plan A, plan B, plan C, what is your plan C? If you had, I guess, a definition of it.
For trading? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
I think for trading, plan C is taking the max loss or the hard loss when the market's running against you. Just the bail, the quick bail, the painful one would be the plan C.
Sometimes that's the hardest one, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about that plan C.
I'm like, plan C? What's a plan C?
Sometimes I try and incorporate plan C and then get ready to prepare for plan A right after plan C. But a lot of the time, that often, we try and think of everything through as super far, and I try to do that. But it's sometimes once you hit plan C, it's just better to have a little break, let the mind rest, let the charts change.
Is it plan C the winning while losing?
I think plan C is you're done. And as you're, like Josh was saying, you're done. You're just walking away and you pull the ripcord, right? You're done. I'm just like, my plan C always happens when I go for a win for losing, when I execute and it doesn't work, and then I do it again and it doesn't work. Then I'm like, okay, the market is being stupid and I'm done. And notice how I say the market is being stupid as opposed to, man, I made a mistake.
Sure.
I always blame the market for taking my money. I never say, man, that was on me. Now there are times when you do that if you're a new trader, but like somebody like with Josh that has experience, and there's a lot of traders here that know the technical analysis, know all that, but market just does something stupid. Well, you need to put the blame on the market and never on yourself. And that's going to help your psychology go a long way. Like market,
That's so good. Such a good point. Because some of us like to put so much responsibility on ourselves. I know that there's those types in here, that run huge, their CEOs or whatever. They've had incredible success, and it's due to their high responsibility, putting everything on themselves. Mm-hmm. There is a time and a place here, like you're saying, David. It's the market, and we actually have to point fingers. Finally, now we get to use this as an opportunity. Now I get to point my finger at the market. It was his fault. Finally, somebody else's fault.
Exactly. But learning when to recognize that is very powerful, right? Where you're like, well, the market did something that I didn't expect it to do, and I took a loss. I'm out. Plan C. I'll see you tomorrow, right? That's what C is for. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. And I have a question on that. Is there, I don't know, a specific like line in the sand where, like say daily, percentage of risk, right? I mean, obviously Alveo is going to kick you out at 5%, but do you have, or, kind of those guidelines, right? For once you hit specific percentage, it's plant seed time and you're out.
What do you do, Josh? What's your kind of, I'm done.
So for a long time, I couldn't pull the plug. Alveo would always have to do it for me. For years, I couldn't do it.
Been there.
It's like the most unbelievable, frustrating thing ever.
Yeah.
That would actually really get me down too, because then I'd feel like, wow, I can't even just close all.
I'd be down 3%, and then I'd be like, well, what's 5%? I'm going to risk it and see if I can get my 3% back, as opposed to just taking the 3. I'd get all the way to 5 and I'd risk out, because I'd be like, well, what's 2 more percent? I'm already down 3. And I would kind of barter with myself. Have you ever done that one?
I mean, like, for years I couldn't do it. This year has been the best year for me. I said I do not risk out anymore. So I end up hitting the 4.5, 4.75, but I do it. As long as I'm doing it on my terms, that's me pulling the plug. And this year's been really good for that. I've been getting a lot better at that. And it simply is coming from saying I don't risk out.
So I rarely ever do this publicly, but I do it a lot privately. But I rarely ever do this publicly, and that's give Nate credit.
Yeah.
But Nate guy.
I'm just kidding. But Nate said something that stuck with me a long time ago, and you guys have all heard it many times, is that he said something to me as a new trader that I was trying to learn, that he said, never risk more in one day that you can't make up in 2, right? And I was like, oh, that's really good. And then so I started saying it, and I heard other people start saying it, and it's kind of been like a theme through the years. We've all said it. But then what happened to me was I would still risk more. I could only make 1%, but yet I'd lose 5%. And so I'm like, wait, it's not working for me, because I wouldn't allow myself mentally. I just, like you said, I was stuck in that, 3%, 5%. What's the big deal? What's the difference to me? And so it dawned on me, and I went the other way, Josh, where I'm like, well, if I'm going to lose 5%, I better learn how to make 5%.
I went that way too.
Yes,
I went that way. Yeah.
If you're racing a car and the car's on fire, you got to get out of the car. You're not putting the fire out.
Oh no, you just go fast enough, right? Hunter, faster you go.
If you go fast enough, you can create a vacuum.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
But the fire can't ease it.
Slingshot the next guy. Get rid of those flames.
Yeah. Just kidding, Sky. You're right. Absolutely right. You're right, Sky.
It definitely comes that point where you have to really take that power back, right? But I just noticed for me, I try to kind of draw that. I go by that, don't risk or don't lose what you can't make back in 2 days. That works for me, because I was getting so down when I would get risked out, right? I would get so down on myself that, and it happens to everybody, right? But it just kind of helped me to have that mental, that positive, I guess more of a positive outlook, right? Because I'd get risked out and I wouldn't trade for months, right? And so it really impacted me pretty bad. So no, that's good to be able to kind of have those criteria, and what works for one is going to work for not necessarily work for the other. So you got to kind of find maybe even through journaling, right? what kind of what routine can help with that? So
yeah.
Hey Josh, do you ever just not trade a day because life's giving you the middle finger so bad that day?
Do you want to know the real answer to that? Is no. I still always trade. It doesn't matter how I feel. Like, it's like I'm stubborn. I'm going to trade, and I'm going to make money somehow today. It doesn't matter how bad I feel. And that's my personality. If I'm in the coffin with my last breath, I'll still be trying, right? And that's why there's been areas in my trading where I couldn't pull the plug before risking out. That's just my personality. But thankfully, I've started to get over that one.
Do you see? I was just going to ask you, do you maintain the consistency of profitability, or do you usually find days, or maybe you thought about quitting, but you didn't, that you were negative that day.
Absolutely. Yeah. I shouldn't have traded anymore. There was a lot of those days. And so like, I've been getting better control over that past couple of weeks. Even I've been seeing it in my journals. I'm saying less is more. The less trading I do, the better performance I've been having. And my journal's I've been writing that, and I've been learning that. So,
and Joseph makes a good point, though. I mean, on the flip side of life, sometimes you open up the chart and you're like, oh, this is ugly. Don't trade it, right? Don't trade it if you don't know what the market's doing, or it's just dead or nothing, right? And so there's a time of, even though you're like, I need to trade today, don't just trade to trade. If the market is not conducive to your trading style, don't be like, I'm going to trade this, right? So like Joseph,
so not even maybe in a demo and trying to learn that.
I kind of like what Duke does personally. I wouldn't go to a demo if the market's doing that. Go to a simulated situation with simulated data, right? That's going to move and it's going to give you, because why try to fight something that's not conducive to your trading style, right? I don't like, if I open up a chart and it's like just dead in the water or tons of marching markets, I just won't trade, right? But I do like that, and that's something that I like. I don't know. It's everybody's individual preference. Some might say, well, you need to be exposed to all market conditions to have a rounded skill set, and others might say, trade the same way you trade and find the markets that are good for you. I mean, that's really an individual answer. Todd uses the shotgun strategy, and he doesn't care what market it is, as long as it does this, and this, he's trading it. Sean and I can probably sit down in any pair and use the same rules and the techniques. And as long as the market has volatility, we can trade it. But if it doesn't have volatility, I'm not trading it. And so that's kind of my hard and fast rule, is that it has to have volatility. So I don't know if that makes sense.
Definitely. Yeah. And then I like Martin, and another comment says, even in a demo account, you can still get some of those psychological injuries.
Oh, it's all it's most of my trauma was in the demo.
Yeah.
I went to the trading ER many times.
CPR.
Hey, but before we bounce, Josh, you got to tell us a stunt story. Come on, one stunt story, a cool story. There I was. Stunt double for Mike Tyson.
They're all cool, Dave.
You've probably never seen Josh and Batman in the same room.
Ooh,
he's probably Batman.
Ooh. Exactly. Hold my beer.
It's funny, as a guy that makes a lot of movies, I'm like, don't know characters. I don't know the superheroes.
You know Batman. Come on.
Yeah, I know Batman.
I am Batman.
Hey, Josh, do you think that your background in stunts, because I mean, some of those are life and death moments, right? And if you don't plan out precisely how you're doing, do you do that with your training too? Or do you feel a little more relaxed trading because it's not life and death? Or do you go into it going just like stunts with like, if I screwed this up, I'm going to die? Like, I'm just wondering like how heavy the trading weighs on you when you're doing it compared to stunts.
Great question.
I feel like I wish I traded the way I do stunts, because the way I do stunts is if I don't get it right, and if my plan B and plan C isn't perfect, like I'm going to die. And it's not, I, for some reason, have such a hard time transferring that into my trading. Or it's kind of feel like, oh, it's just like a video game or some numbers. Like I can't take it seriously or something like that. It's like there's some kind of weird disconnect. And Lee was kind of talking about control. Control is definitely a big part of it, a huge part of it. So it's kind of like I've had to learn by getting beat up over and over and over to take more responsibility with myself in my trading. Because when it comes to stunts, I have no second guessing. It's 1,000% plan B. Plan C is set, super confident in it. And then execute. And I've had a good career doing that. I haven't even broken any bones. It's been 12 years and I haven't had broken bones. I've had head injuries and torn ligaments and stuff, but because I've been super precise, super accurate with my performances, I've been able to have a long, good career because of that. And I'm hoping that the trading I'll be doing the same.
Well, have you considered changing your environment to be more replicative of that? I don't know, surround yourself in a ring of fire that's going to burn you in an hour if you don't make 2%.
That's what I was going to say. Hook yourself up to like a battery that shocks you if you make a mistake.
No, bring back that physical piece that you're missing. And well, I don't know. It's an idea.
Just a huge boxing glove that sits here and knocks me out when I make it.
Exactly.
If you don't make 2% an hour or whatever, it hits you. I don't know. But it would bring back that physical risk that you're missing.
Man, the last year has been so painful. It's been smacking me in the face enough that I am taking things a lot more responsibly.
I think Neil hit the nail on the head when you can't transfer that because trading has an element of randomness. And when you do stunts, nothing is random. It's all precisely planned out.
Yeah, right? Nicely put.
I was going to add on because a lot of what I went through early on in my trading is that it was so serious for me. And if I screwed one thing up or if I lost too many trades, I would just lose my mind with it. Right. Because it was just like, oh, I got to get this right. And you maybe, I don't know, relax a little bit. Because like when I watch some of the guys that really crush it, they have a very more casual approach to it because they rely on the training, but they don't take it too seriously. And that's my biggest challenge is just taking it really seriously.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree more with that comment. And I've been in your shoes where I gave up trading I quit trading so many times because of my frustration. And then other times I overtraded where I was trading all day, every day. And my work environment at the Apiary Fund was not conducive or healthy for an overtrading because you were allowed to trade all day, every day.
Well, and I've done that too because I haven't had success. My natural tendency is to work harder. And so there's been so many 16-hour days because nobody tells me when to stop trading. I've done the same too, to the point where there's nothing being learned. Very little, other than just feeling pain of being in the market when you shouldn't be there.
Yeah. I think maybe the biggest takeaway here is don't be so hard on yourself mentally and find a way to provide balance mentally and trading, right? There is such a real thing as overtrading. Been there, done that. And then there's such a thing as giving up and getting frustrated. I would get frustrated with myself that I gave up and quit. And I'm like, man, I could have been 6 months ahead in my trading game but I quit, or 3 months ahead, and then you get frustrated at yourself that way. And I'm like, there came a point about 5 or 6 years ago that I kind of flipped the switch like Josh and said, no matter what, I'm going to trade every day that I can. And not like there's certain days that you just can't, like bank holidays, I'm not going to trade, or if I have life stuff, vacations or whatever. But every day, actually that's not true. I still trade on vacations. But every day I just made the switch. It's just a way of life, right? It's just what you do. And if you start, stop, you're never going to get to where you want to be. And so I really, 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 really applaud you on your journey, Josh. And I know that one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, I got it. I figured it out. And I do think that for you personally, because I've seen you, I think I met you 6 years ago at I don't remember what boot camp it was.
It was the very first Wobble boot camp.
Oh, was it? I thought it was a summit for sure, but okay. But, I know we worked with you and then I was able to help get you funded at that one, to the Wobble boot camp, but I thought I met you before then. Did you go to any other things, summits or anything like that?
No, just the one wall.
Okay. Yeah. But I think that I've seen you, in your trading, your progression, and we kind of reconnected, about 6 months ago. And I feel I've seen your path and your journey. And if I could just say one thing that I think you are getting but haven't gotten, is that you understand that negative thoughts and all that is great. And so you're starting to eliminate that. But now, like we just talked about earlier about blaming the market, but it's not necessarily blaming the market. It's basically going one step further, eliminating the negative thoughts, but also telling yourself that you have the confidence to make these trades. And by allowing yourself to have that confidence to be like, okay, I know what I'm doing, and it's the market being dumb. And I'm not saying to blame the market. I'm saying that helps with establishing a confidence. And like what Sky was saying, that good traders never get nervous because they know that they can fix whatever's broken. And when you get to that level that you know you can fix what was broken, then it really, really unlocks a different psychological game. It's almost like a little bit, you're as a trader, I'm not saying you're narcissistic, but you are that way with the market, right? It's not my fault, it's your fault, right? And that's a little bit of narcissism, and all good traders have it. Is like, well, okay, you just took it, you took the money, it was never my money, but I gave it back instead of the market taking it from me. Rephrase that in your head and said, I gave that back to the market, right? So the market taking, because it's just these little tiny things that you just have to rewire your brain. And I love that you have this image of the brain up here, because you have to go through these evolutions as a trader. Every trader does it. Every trader has to go through these evolutions. You're not going to find confidence unless you understand the skill set. And hopefully that's what you guys have, every single morning. I know for a fact for me, I've become a better trader because of you guys in the morning. I enjoy it. I love it every single morning. And it just raises the skill set for everybody. And hopefully as your skill set increases, so does your confidence. And don't let the market shake that confidence, and don't become fearful of that. And speaking directly to you, Josh, I think that that's your next step in your trading, is to find ways that you can tell yourself that you're a good trader and that you're confident and that you can fix anything the market throws at you. And I think once you can truly believe that, your trading will take off.
Yeah, I fully believe you too. I'm seeing that turning point and having to fully believe it. And I'm fully convinced now that the 6 years of 12 and 16-hour days is paying off. And I can say, I actually do have enough knowledge and enough experience to bring consistency. It's just a matter of whether I'm going to believe it or not, and actually believe it.
That's the key. Actually believe it, because I know you have the skill set. I know you have the skill set. You just need to be confident in your own self. And you got this.
You got it.
Everybody give him a big old high five.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Again, I just so much great content, right? And thank you, David, and obviously thank you. Thank you, Josh, for putting yourself out there. It's not easy, but you do it, and we do it, and hopefully, people are able to take quite a bit right from this. And we talk a lot about psychology and how it affects our trading, and I think it's whether it's self-doubt or fear or greed or whatever it is that makes us break specific rules, or just kind of takes us out of our element altogether with our trading. And I know that definitely, this has resonated with me, and I would invite anybody else, right? If you're kind of struggling with the same thing, want help, maybe recognizing some of those hurdles, putting a plan together. Again, maybe not something for everybody, but we are hosting that the very first trading psychology boot camp, right? So if you have questions, we'd love to help put together maybe a plan that could be a good solution. And or the fast track courses, with the challenge, something that's really helped a lot of our traders with is just developing those rules, right? For me, it's very technical. If I don't have a specific set of rules to dictate the way that I trade, then that psychology really does become a problem. So again, just invite you, start a conversation. We want to help everybody that possibly can. We want to see everybody succeed. And if you haven't had a chance to join the trading group in the morning, definitely do so. Again, it's awesome. We get more of Dave.
Don't use that and awesome in the same sentence.
Okay. Translucent, pasty, fluorescent.
Hey, thanks, Jamie.
But no, seriously, get we're all here to help. So yeah, if you have questions or struggling, let's get together. Let's have a conversation, review it, see what we can do to help.
Yeah, and I'm an open book too. Anybody, feel free to hit me up. Been through all the roller coaster of trading too, all the emotions. If you ever just want to talk or ask questions about that, I've been there, done that, and would love to be able to help if I can as well too.
That's awesome, Josh. That's so cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, another great session in our fantastic Discord community. Again, appreciate everybody for giving their time. Hope everybody took something away from this session, and we'll be looking for other people. So I'll be getting with traders who have signed up. If you haven't signed up to teach and you'd like to, of course, or I might force you. But that so the list will be presented again. Or I'll put it back in the trade talk, and I'll also get with the people who've already signed up and see if we can't get another fantastic session next Wednesday.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thanks.